1234 Media Bio. Subscribe, like, share, that's it.
In this video we gonna talk about osmosis. Osmosis is a process by which the molecules of a solvent pass from a less concentrated solution to a more concentrated solution through a semi-permeable membrane. So before moving forward you must know what is a semi-permeable membrane. It is a synthetic, polymeric material, which will only allow some molecules to pass through it, while blocking the passage of other molecules. It can be thought as a semi-permeable barrier, or a filter. There are different types of semi-permeable membranes. Depending on its type, it can block different sizes of molecules. So this was the basic of semi-permeable membrane. Now this diagram might give you a clear idea of osmosis. Here's a big-sized beaker, and we place a semi-permeable membrane at the center, dividing the beaker into two equal volumes. Now this semi-permeable membrane can be solid material, or a loose material. Alright, now we pour a heavily concentrated salt water solution on one side of the beaker, and a lightly concentrated solution on other side of the beaker. Now leave this set up for about half an hour. You will see that the salt concentration of both the sides of the semi-permeable membrane has become equal. This happened because some of the salt molecules from the higher concentration has moved to the lower concentration, and this process went on till the concentration of salt molecules are same on both sides of the semi-permeable membrane. This whole process is known as osmosis. Examples of osmosis in daily life. First of all, raisin in water. Keep some raisins in water, and they will swell up over time. This happens because the water keeps on entering the raisins, till they bulge up. Also, the membrane on the raisins acts as semi-permeable membrane. Next, absorption of water by plants. The roots of plants and trees are deep inside the soil, to absorb underground water. The root hairs acts as semi-permeable membrane, to only absorb pure water and not its impurities. That's good, isn't that? In human body, osmosis occurs in the small intestine, to absorb nutrients from food. It also happens in the kidneys, to filter the waste materials out of blood. Laboratory experiment. Human cells can also do osmosis. Just place a cell in a bowl of water, within some time the cell will bulge up. If placed for too long, the cell can even burst due to excess of water in it. Oh wow! Now there is something you need to know. Any solution that goes through osmosis is known as osmotic solution. So there are three types of osmotic solutions: isotonic solution, hypertonic solution, and hypotonic solution. Let's dive into the detail of these solutions. First of all, isotonic solution. In isotonic solution, the amount of water inside and outside the cell is same. This means that the amount of water getting in the cell is equal to the amount of water coming out of the cell. Next, hypertonic solution. In hypertonic solution, the amount of water inside the cell is more than outside the cell. This means that more water will try to get out of the cell. Lastly, hypotonic solution. In hypotonic solution, the amount of water outside the cell is more than inside. This means that more water will try to get in the cell. So those were the three types of osmotic solutions. Well, here we are just mentioning water, but it can be any solution. Now what are the types of osmosis? Well, there are two types of osmosis. Firstly, endosmosis. When a cell is placed in a hypotonic solution, water enters the cell, to make it turgid and bulky. This phenomenon is known as diplasmolysis. And the process is known as endosmosis. Alright, fine. Okay, Another type of osmosis is exosmosis. When a cell is placed in a hypertonic solution, water moves out of the cell to make it flaccid. This phenomenon is known as plasmolysis, and the process is known as exosmosis. Now, effect of osmosis on cells. Animal cell. The ideal environment for an animal cell is isotonic solution. Plant cell. The ideal environment for a plant cell is hypotonic solution, as it got a cell wall and needs more water. Now, what is osmotic pressure? The simplest definition is, osmotic pressure is the minimum pressure required to stop osmosis. In osmosis, water tends to flow from an area of high concentration to an area of low concentration. This keeps on happening till the concentration is same in both the areas. Osmotic pressure is the minimum pressure required to stop this flow of water in the middle of the process. What are the examples of osmosis? The roots of the plants use osmosis to absorb underground water. I guess we discussed this earlier in the video. The small intestine use osmosis to absorb nutrients from digested food. The kidneys use osmosis to remove waste materials from blood. If a freshwater or saltwater fish is placed in the water with different salt concentrations, the fish dies due to entry or exit of water in its cells. This is because any kind of fish can only survive in its appropriate aquatic environment. A couple of more things: forward osmosis and reverse osmosis. Forward osmosis. Forward osmosis is actually the normal osmosis. Here, solvent molecules tends to flow from a region of higher concentration to a region of lower concentration across a semi-permeable membrane. Reverse osmosis. Reverse osmosis is just the opposite of forward osmosis. Here, solvent molecules are made to flow from a region of lower concentration to a region of higher concentration across a semi-permeable membrane by applying external pressure in the region of lower concentration. This application of external pressure makes the process of osmosis way more efficient. This method is generally used in water purifiers to remove ions from water. Alright, so that was the end of the video. Let me know your valuable feedback down in the comments section. I'll again meet you in the next video. And please, subscribe to 1234 Media Bio to keep yourself updated on medical knowledge.